There's a moment in every human life that feels too heavy to name out loud. A moment where something inside you quietly whispers, I don't know if I can keep doing this anymore. A moment where the weight of everything you've been carrying becomes almost impossible to hide, even from yourself. If that's where you are right now, I want you to stay with me for a moment. Not because you owe me anything, not because anyone expects anything from you, but because there is something your soul has been trying to say for a long time. And this may be the first time you've been still enough, tired enough, quiet enough, and cracked open enough to finally hear it. You are not in this darkness because you failed. You are in this darkness because something deep inside you is being rewritten. And I truly know how painful that feels. This kind of heaviness is different. It's the kind that doesn't always show on the outside. The kind that people around you may never notice. It's the kind that sits in your chest like a stone. A quiet, invisible weight that follows you through the day. The kind that makes your mornings feel slow, your afternoons feel empty, and your nights stretch endlessly into silence. It's the kind of heaviness that makes your days blur together, where time moves forward, but something inside you feels stuck. It's the kind that makes you question everything, your worth, your direction, your purpose, even your place in this world. You start wondering things you never used to question before. Am I enough? Am I lost? Did I take the wrong path somewhere along the way? But hear this now, with every ounce of gentleness you deserve. This is not the last chapter of your story. This is the chapter that changes everything. The universe never builds a future on an unsteady foundation. It never constructs something meaningful on ground that hasn't been strengthened first. And right now, everything's shaky in your life. Everything uncertain. Everything you've been silently carrying for far too long. All of it is rising to the surface, not to destroy you, but to reveal you. Because you have reached the moment where pretending you're fine is no longer your destiny. You are not supposed to break here. You are supposed to wake here. There are parts of your soul you haven't met yet. Parts of you that have been waiting patiently beneath the surface. Strength you haven't discovered. Wisdom you haven't embodied. Compassion you haven't fully accessed. Depth you didn't know you carried. And sometimes, the only doorway to those parts of ourselves is the kind of darkness we would never choose, but somehow find ourselves walking through. So I want you to pause for a moment. Just breathe. Slowly, gently, no pressure, no expectations, just breath meeting body. Just the simple rhythm of life reminding you that you're still here. Because the fact that you're listening to this at this exact moment in your life tells me more about you than you probably realize. It tells me something important. It tells me that you haven't given up yet. Not completely, not fully, not truly. Something inside you still believes. Even if that belief feels faint. Even if it flickers like a small candle in a strong wind. Even if it feels fragile. It's still there. And that matters more than you know. Because there is a law woven into the structure of this universe. A law older than any book. Older than any philosophy. Older than any religion. A quiet, cosmic rhythm that everything follows. And it says this: before light expands, it withdraws. Before something new begins, something old must end. Before a new timeline opens in your life, the previous one must collapse. Before your life rises into something greater, something inside you first falls apart. So this collapse you feel, this confusion, this unraveling, it isn't punishment, it's preparation. I wish I could show you what your future self looks like. The version of you who survived this exact moment. The version of you who kept walking when everything felt impossible. The version of you who stepped through this darkness and emerged transformed. Someone wiser, stronger, more compassionate, more radiant than the person you are today. I wish that future version of you could sit beside you right now. Hold your hands, look into your eyes, and gently whisper one simple sentence. Please don't stop here. You have no idea who you're becoming, because that future version of you is real. They already exist somewhere along the path ahead. They're waiting for you on the other side of this night. waiting patiently on the other side of the darkness you're walking through. And one day, this moment you're in right now will become part of your story, a story you tell someone else, a story that helps someone else breathe when they feel like giving up. One day, your survival will become someone else's hope, not just in a symbolic way, but in a real, tangible way. Someone you may never meet will hear your story. They will hear about the night you almost gave up. They will hear about the moment when everything inside you felt exhausted and empty. And in that moment, something inside them will shift, because they will realize that if you could survive it, maybe they can too. Your scars will become someone else's map. They will study the places where life tried to break you. They will notice the places where you thought you couldn't continue. And those same places, the wounds you once tried to hide, will quietly guide someone else through their own darkness. Your healing will become someone else's permission to begin their own. Because when people see someone rise from pain, something powerful happens. It reminds them that transformation is possible. It reminds them that broken things are not useless things. It reminds them that suffering does not erase purpose. And that is why the universe does not waste pain. Not a single drop of it. Every tear you have shed, every sleepless night, every silent battle you fought when no one was watching, none of it disappears into nothingness. Pain is not meaningless. It is a form of refinement. It shapes you. It deepens you. It carves space inside your heart that compassion can one day fill. And God does not abandon souls in the middle of their story, even when it feels that way, even when the silence feels overwhelming, even when the path forward looks completely invisible. The story is still unfolding, and you were created with intention. You are not an accident of biology. You are not just a random collection of cells that somehow appeared by chance. You are not a meaningless coincidence floating through time. You are a deliberate expression of consciousness, a living piece of the same intelligence that moves the stars, grows the forests, and breathes life into the oceans. You were placed here with a purpose that has not fully unfolded yet, and sometimes that purpose remains hidden for a long time. Sometimes it waits quietly beneath years of confusion, struggle, and searching. Not because you are lost, but because you are being prepared. Because sometimes, the deeper your purpose, the darker the tunnel you must crawl through to reach it. And that tunnel can feel endless. It can feel lonely. It can feel unfair. But tunnels are not destinations. They are passages. They are spaces between who you used to be and who you are becoming. Now I want to speak directly to the part of you that feels ashamed of struggling. The part of you that believes you should have everything figured out by now. The part that thinks you should be stronger, braver, more resilient than you feel. The part that quietly compares your life to everyone else's. The part that scrolls through other people's highlights and wonders why your own life feels so heavy. The part that asks painful questions like, why can't I just move on? Why can't I just get over this? Why does it seem so easy for everyone else? Listen carefully. There is nothing weak about being overwhelmed. There is nothing embarrassing about feeling lost. Pain does not make you small. Pain makes you human. It means your heart is still open enough to feel. It means your spirit has not turned numb. And every soul who has ever risen into their fullest potential has passed through moments like this. Moments of doubt. Moments where the mind whispered lies about worth and value. Moments of confusion where every direction felt uncertain. Moments where the path ahead looked completely invisible. You are not the first to feel this way, and you will not be the last. But those who rise because they continue walking even when they cannot see the road. So hear this clearly. You are not broken. You are breaking open. And that distinction matters more than you realize. Breaking apart destroys something. Breaking open reveals something. It exposes new space inside you. Space for growth. Space for understanding. Space for a deeper version of yourself to emerge. And this next part matters deeply. So listen closely. There is something inside you. Something rare. A brilliance. A gift. A calling that the world has not seen yet. It may be your ability to help others heal. It may be your creativity, your insight, your compassion, your voice, your ability to understand pain in ways others cannot. And the darkness you're walking through right now, is shaping you to carry that gift responsibly, with wisdom instead of fear, with depth instead of ego, with compassion instead of bitterness. Because a gift without depth can become destructive. But when a gift is shaped by hardship, it becomes healing. When someone has walked through suffering and still chooses kindness, their presence carries a different kind of power. So if you quit now, that gift remains buried. If you quit now, the very part of you that the world needed will never fully emerge. If you quit now, your story stops at the exact moment it was meant to transform. But you don't have to be strong every moment. You don't have to pretend everything is okay. You don't have to hide your struggles. And you certainly don't have to see the entire path ahead. All you need to do is take the next breath, then the next step, then the next sunrise. That's enough. Healing is rarely dramatic. Most of the time, it is quiet. It happens in small decisions, small moments of courage, small acts of continuing when quitting would be easier. And when your mind tries to convince you that no one cares, that you are alone in this, remember something very important. You have never walked alone. Not once. Not for a single moment of your life. There are forces around you. God, the universe, your guides, your ancestors, the same sacred consciousness that breathed life into your lungs the day you were born. And they have been protecting you in ways you may not even recognize yet. There are moments you survived that you shouldn't have. There are situations you escaped that could have ended differently. There are paths you were redirected away from without even realizing it. Because if you were truly alone, you wouldn't still be here. Your story would already be over, but it isn't. You're still breathing. You're still moving. You're still writing. And maybe, just maybe, this moment right now is the moment where the pen finally returns to your hand. So hear this clearly. You do not owe the darkness your surrender. You do not owe your past your future. And you do not owe your pain the final word in your story. This chapter is allowed to be difficult. It is allowed to be messy. It is allowed to be painful. But it is not allowed to be final. One day, sooner than you think, you will look back at this version of yourself with awe. Not because you were fearless, but because you kept going despite the fear. Not because you always believed, but because you stayed alive long enough to watch life begin believing in you. So before we end, I want you to anchor this moment. I want you to claim your next chapter before it even arrives. Write this declaration. My story isn't ending, it's beginning. Write it for yourself. Write it for the person you are becoming. Write it for the future version of you who will one day read those words and remember this moment. And write it so someone scrolling through the comments might see it and feel less alone. Because sometimes a single sentence from a stranger can become the light someone needed to keep going. And if someone you love is walking through a darkness of their own, share this message with them, not as advice, not as instruction, but simply as a reminder. Their story isn't over either. You're here for a reason. You are needed. You matter. You are loved. And your light, even if it feels dim right now, is far from finished. It is only gathering strength. This is not your final chapter. This is where you rise.